Good win. Obviously, we stopped turning the ball over, which then allowed us to get shots and not give them open court shots, which they're hard to defend if you put them in the open court. And then they offensively, the way we thought they were going to play, they came out and played differently. And we had to make a halftime adjustment. I thought of making it in the first half, but we're a little young, and I didn't want to kind of get them confused. So we used halftime to make the adjustment and defensively, and I thought the adjustments helped us. And then we got something we didn't do in our last couple games. We grabbed defensive rebounds. And defensive rebounds then eliminates fouls, eliminates second shots, eliminates a lot of plays that continue to give us problems.
Frank, you guys are down 13 at the under 16. What did you tell them in the huddle, or did you say anything specific to AJ and Key?
No. It's you go play the next play. You don't dwell on the score. The game starts. I heard Dabo Sweeney say this. I never heard anyone say it. There's nothing more irrelevant than the halftime score. And I thought that was a great line. There's nothing more irrelevant than the score at any point of the game except when the game's over. And, you got to keep playing. It's a 40-minute game, and they play fast. So, when they took the lead to 13 there, it's like if you're down 13 to Virginia because of how they play, that's really hard. The way they play, I'm not saying it's easy. We just, we had to score. And, obviously we made some threes. The defensive adjustments got us into the open court, which allowed AJ and Keshawn to play with their athleticism. That's young kids love playing in the open court. I get that. But part of the job is you got to teach them how to play in the half court too. And that's what they continue to do.
Frank, what was the key in the first half to keep it from getting away from you? Was it Daniel getting in foul trouble? Was it what was it to neutralize those turnovers? And
that had a lot to do with it. That they were making shots and attacking us, and a guy that's really, really good, wasn't on the court, and they had a chance to, I don't want to say put us away, but create more separation. But instead, we made those 2 threes, and I think we cut it to like 31-25 or somewhere in there, and that kind of gave us a little life going into halftime. And then I was disappointed how we started the second half. I really was. Their first offensive possession, Keshawn and AJ don't get matched up, and we give Joe a 3 right away. Just not because they ran a play, we just didn't get matched up. But Gafford not being on the court there, allowed. He's a heck of a player. It's difficult to do some things defensively when you got someone like him at the paint and offensive rebounding.
Frank, was this perhaps the best game you've seen AJ and Keshawn play, particularly in the second half and in critical situations?
I was going to say, if you include the first half, I don't know if Keshawn would have been on my list of guys that played well. But I said this last night at our Legends function. Because of the injuries, because of our youth, because of all the stuff that we've been talking about all year, these kids, the way they respond and they keep coming back, they've made me be patient. In the past, if I had more depth, I probably don't play Keshawn much in the second half. It's just me. It's the way I am. And I would have given someone else the look tonight, especially when you're coaching somebody that's in his first year, because he wasn't very good in the first half. But I've had to be patient, and I've learned from those 2 young kids. They're both real good basketball players, and Arkansas is different too. And Sonny spent 2 days trying to tell those guys what was coming, and because of the style that they play. And I think Keshawn, the word I'm looking for is sped up. The way they played, they got him thinking that he can play faster than he's capable of playing, and got himself in trouble. And But give that young man credit. I mean, he made some big time. He was solid defensively first of all, and then he got out in that open court, and him and AJ are dynamic when they get out there. And don't leave Hassani out. Hassani played a great second half.
Frank, Keshawn said that early in the year you got him to trust that jumper more, and maybe it's allowed defenders to come out at him a little more. Have you seen an advancement in that game, and how has that helped him with that little mid-range and things of that nature, that he's just not attacking every time?
Yeah, he's good from that 12, 14-foot range. Some guys look great when they shoot it, and the ball never goes in. Some guys just have a knack that they kind of flick it and do all kinds of stuff, and the thing always goes in. Keshawn's ball goes in the basket. And if you sit around and watch him shoot the basketball, he's got pretty good mechanics, But when you're an athlete like him and you see the stuff he does athletically, you don't learn to come in high school. You don't learn to say, you know what, I can't get everything at the rim. I got to be able to stop at 10, 12 feet and make decisions from there. He's learning. He's getting better. He made a three today. He made, I guess, coming into the game, he was like 2 for 176 from the foul line. So whatever he shot today is an improvement, But here's the funnest thing about Keshawn. He lets you coach him. He doesn't pout. He doesn't roll his eyes. Doesn't when you're on him because he's having the turnovers he had in the first half, he don't run away from it. So guys like that usually get better, and he works at it. He goes in the gym, shoots balls, and works at it. So I'm excited about moving forward with him. I'm going to eventually be fully bald, but I'm excited about going forward with him.
What was the difference in the second half with the turnovers? Was it just getting used to playing against that defense? Is it as simple as that?
Two things, John. That's one. And number two, I in my mind, I was worried about how we try to run offense in the half court against their style. So I had a plan B, and we made an adjustment offensively, too, on how we wanted to enter our offensive sets. And once again, give those kids credit. They because sometimes you make adjustments and coaches don't tell you because we're not going to throw kids under the bus, but they don't make them, and but they did, and that allowed us to have better spacing. It allowed us to open some passing lanes so we can actually pass the basketball. And that, once the ball starts going in the basket, and when you turn the ball over, it deflates you. When you miss free throws, it deflates you, And in the second half, we stopped turning it over, and it gave us a chance to get shots. And I talking about Keshawn, he caught it in that left wing. I can't remember what the score was, and he's got Felipe Haase wide open for a trail three. And we're all yelling from the bench, pass the ball. And he decides he's going to drive it. And we're like, what are you doing? He jumped up and shot it. It was like, what a great shot. It's, but we made a little adjustment on how we entered offense, and I think it made it easier for the guys. But we spoke for a couple days. When you play Arkansas, you're not going to be able to run all the plays that we try to run against other teams. You have to be aggressive with your spacing and then aggressive with getting the ball into the paint. And A.J. was special today. He made his jump shots. We saw that, but he got the ball in the paint. And then to close the game, Chris had 2 big-time post-ups that we executed, what we called big-time post-ups into big-time finishes over Daniel Gafford. Those are hard shots, and he made them both. And it was fun. It was fun for us to stay the course for 40 minutes there.
Coach, you touched on some of this from what Andrew asked you a moment ago, but I remember you stressing early in the season, we have to get these kids to listen to the scouting reports. One of the first things Keshawn just said up here where you're sitting is, we listen to the scouting report. How much better are these young guys at listening, learning, and then in-game adapting? Yeah,
I don't want to make Keshawn's high school coaches, because he had a couple, sound like they don't do it. It's hard in high school I did that. I tried to do scouting reports. Them kids are too young. You hold them accountable, but the majority of the guys that play here or Florida or Tennessee or Kentucky are better than 90% of the high school kids they play against. So what happens? scouting reports aren't important. You know, I got a funny story for you if you got a couple minutes. Michael Beasley's my first game ever as a head coach. Michael Beasley is on the team, and Brad Underwood is giving the scouting report. Michael's pretty good, very intelligent kid. I'm sitting there, and he's starting to nod off. So I waited until it completely went. I said, "Stop, Mike, stand up." "Oh," I said, "Mike, if you talk, now you're going to lie. Then I'm really going to be mad. Just stand up." So it was like kindergarten class. I had 9 freshmen. I made him watch the scouting report standing up. So now, to give you an idea of the mindset of the kids that come to school, like at schools like ours. So now we're walking up the tunnel, and he's like a little kid. He comes running, puts his arm over me as we're walking up the tunnel, get to the court to practice, and he says, "Coach, I know I got to learn this film stuff. But did you watch those guys? Who's going to guard me?" And then when I listen to this now, when I took him out of the game, it's my first game ever as a head coach. When I took him out of the game, he had 40 points, 24 rebounds. He walked by me. He says, "Coach, I told you I got you." And that's scouting reports take time. By the end of the year now, he knew that guy can't go left. This guy can't go right. This guy, when he goes right, he's one dribble pull up. And he started understanding how that helps him. That's a true story, by the way.
Frank, there seems like there's been a theme these last couple of weeks. Whether you meet with us, like last night, you said, "You know what, we had a good practice. We're feeling good going into tonight." What do you guys have to do now after a game like this to be able to carry that momentum before, obviously, a tough one later on this week against Tennessee?
Yeah, well, they were real good going into Kentucky, too. I mean, we were on point. We were sharp. The enthusiasm, the energy was good. The only thing we didn't do real good going into Kentucky is we're a little quiet. I don't like quiet teams. Number one, when they're quiet, then I'm loud, and when I'm loud, I get myself in trouble. But the Kentucky game started. We played pretty well, and then remember those bad turnovers in the first half that led to their breakaway layups, and then we basically missed 7 points on missed free throws, and deflates you. And then we start the second half, and then they just attacked us on the glass, and they basically broke our spirit. So we spoke about not letting that happen again. But these guys are resilient, man. They keep coming. They keep coming. They believe in each other. Late in the game, Felipe had a bad defensive breakdown, like a really bad defensive breakdown. And Hassani got on him about it. And obviously I'm such a nice guy, I didn't say a word. But Felipe eventually told Hassani in the middle of timeout, he goes, "You're right. My bad. Let's go win the games. Enough." And Hassani dapped him. And I said, "All right, this is what we're doing, this play." And we scored. And you know who I put the ball in whose hands to make the entry pass to Chris? Felipe. So it's what it's all about, man. You're around these kids watching them grow that way.
I had 2 questions. You guys, it's a tie game, 63-all, and you guys outscored them 14-2 the rest of the way, the last 4. What was the key to that?
They missed some shots. That just plain and simple. We played pretty good defensively the last 10, 12 minutes of the game. I was real happy with how we defended. But coming down the stretch, we were solid with our coverages, but they missed some shots. Just plain and simple. And we rebounded, and we were good. We scored off our offense, and then we came up with back-to-back steals on their dribble drives, because we were in gaps rather than out of the gaps, and it created open court baskets for us. But we kind of got lucky too. Joe had a wide open 3 that he missed. The young man, the point guard, number 5. Yeah, he drove us and shot a floater, and it just didn't drop for him, and we got the rebound. So, and that's all I felt. I'll go back and watch the film, see if anything kind of happened, but that's the feel I had. I can tell you what we did well coming down the stretch. We ran our offense the right way. We executed offensively. We didn't turn it over because I got a big saying, if you run offense the right way, the ball will go in more than not. And we executed. Our spacing was good. Our decision-making was good, so the ball went in for us. And, doesn't allow them to get in the open court.
And then I know you guys have had some good three-point shooting games like Georgia, but you come in, I think, tied for 12th in the league in three-point shooting, hit 10 out of 15. What was the key to the three-point looks?
We're hit and miss on that. We're hit and miss. We're a better shooting team than a team that's in 12th place in the league. It's AJ's been working on his jump shot. He's been spending some time in the gym. I told you guys earlier in the year, all you have to do is watch him when he shoots. The ball either has sideways rotation or back rotation. And when he's got sideways rotation, his elbow's out. When his elbow's out, he's never going to make one. He worked on it. He's been working on it for the last 2 days. And today his ball was clean. Everything was clean, so it went in for him. Trey Campbell, Felipe Haase, those guys make threes for us. Neither one really made any shots for us today. Chris Silva will make some threes. I got to help Chris. Chris is too good a shooter. I got to get him some threes during the course of the game because he shoots it too good. But Sonny made. I want to say he made 3 threes, 2 of them in the second half, right when we're in the middle of that run. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that we're world beaters shooting threes, but we're better than the 12th. What the percentages shows for the 12th ranked, whatever that statistics tell you.
So you've won 70% of your SEC games to this point.
There you go with statistics.
Mm-hmm. Well, I thought you'd be impressed with my 7 out of 10 thing, 70%. So does that surprise you that you're 7-3 after 10 league games?
I don't worry about it, Phil. I really don't. I'm surprised when we don't play well and we practice well. That's the kind of stuff that I pay attention to. It's early conference games, figuring out a way to win, gave this team confidence. Something that we were lacking when we went into Michigan and went, up to Providence, and our challenge continues to be not getting annihilated on free throw attempts. That continues to be this team's challenge. Whenever we keep that number even, we give ourselves a chance to win. Like I told you, the 4 non-conference road games, 128-57 free throw attempts. Hard to win. And we have to, we got to stop with the hand checking. That almost got us in trouble today. We got to do a better job in gap coverages. I thought we were better at that today. We got to keep people off the foul line. And we got to figure out a way for someone other than Chris Silva to shoot free throws on our team. That continues to be a challenge for us. Yep.
With Justin, just now that this decision is final, just how much does that help maybe ease his mind and maybe just focus on helping this team off the court and getting as healthy as he can?
Yeah, he's been a train wreck emotionally because he feels that he should have been healthier 2 weeks ago, and that he's letting his team down. That's why this decision is the right decision to make. He'll be practicing soon. But it's just he hasn't done anything since November 20th or whatever when he hurt his knee, basketball competitive-wise. So let's say for the next 2 weeks, he builds himself into a place where he's starting to feel comfortable again, because it's not like spraining your ankle. I mean, he had some real stuff done there. Burn a year so he can play maybe 4 games at the end of the year and whatever 3 or 4 he played to start the year, it just doesn't make any sense. We needed to give him closure or help him get closure so he can be at peace. And he is. He understands. He's disappointed. But like I told him, I said, there's certain things you don't control, man. You don't control how your body heals. Everyone heals differently. One thing is you dislocated your finger, you pop it in, you tape it, and you deal with it. Another thing, you roll your ankle. It hurts, man. Man, when I cut from right to left, that thing really hurts. Well, can you deal with it? Yes or no? Yes, then deal with it. Play. Another thing is when you hurt your knee the way he did and you need to have surgery and repair done in there, your body's going to heal differently. And you can't throw a kid out there. Him going out there right now would be for one thing and one thing only, the University of South Carolina's benefit. That doesn't benefit Justin Minaya in any way. So this allows him to catch his breath and not be in a rush to try and get out there to try and play 4 games. It just doesn't make any sense.
Frank, I know it's just one game in one weekend, but when you win a game like you did today on Legends Weekend, is this a little bigger building block when it comes to reinforcing the brand and culture of your program?
Yeah, Rick, that's one of the fun things about this weekend was watching a lot of those guys that they come back every year, that played at the old Frank McGuire Arena, the Coliseum, and them going in there and seeing now that place being our practice facility, seeing the new office space, seeing the new locker room. Those guys were in heaven. And seeing whether it was Kevin Joyce or Alex English, who's around all the time, or Gary Greger, or whatever the guys, Corky Cravel, whoever, all the guys that came back, Skip Harlica, to see their joy on the progress that we've made with building our program. Because building the program is not just winning games. There's a lot of things that go into building a program. And for them to see that progress, for them to see the fact that Coach McGuire's, the building named after Coach McGuire's being put to use in the right way, gave those guys joy. And then obviously you line up and you got to go play. Those guys, some traveled from faraway places. And it's fun. It's fun. It's fun to give those guys the ability to see these young kids play and that they care about that uniform and appreciate everything those guys have done. I don't know if you guys saw Bruce Ellington coaching from the other side. He knows what I'm calling. He knows what we do. He's over there. I didn't have to worry about standing up with that extended box and walking. He had me covered on the other side, and it's awesome. It's awesome to whether it's Bruce Ellington, Justin Mackey, or guys that, Hank Martin, who played here in 1949, to have all those guys around, that's some powerful stuff. Thank you, guys.